Spiriglio's next investigation after Reeves would involve an even more famous personality of the 1950s, Marilyn Monroe, an investigation that would take over 8 years. She was born Norma Jean Baker, and her Cinderella story of the deprived, abused waif who soared to the heights of international fame can still weave a magic spell. Marilyn Monroe became the sex goddess for an era in films like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Some Like It Hot. In her unrealized quest for love, she married and divorced Yankee slugger Joe DiMaggio and Broadway playwright Arthur Miller. Although she had affairs with many others, Monroe was destined never to find happiness.
Well, she suffered because, number one, just to have the kind of look that she had was very difficult. To be original, or for her to present what she saw, it meant you had to fight every single department: wardrobe, makeup, hair, all departments. And she was working very hard on her acting and presenting herself in a certain way. And besides the fact that you're made fun of, and, you know, everybody made fun of Marilyn at the studio. When she would walk down the street, people would walk behind her and imitate her walk, and everybody would look out of windows, you know, and elbow each other and laugh, and there was always jokes and that kind of stuff. And so it was, I mean, that was a complete battle for her on every front.
Marilyn had that aura about her that was supposed to be sexy on the screen, but she didn't really turn people on in her real life very, very much.
Oh, I liked Marilyn very much. She was very shy, and I never saw anybody work harder in my life. All through lunchtime, she had her head in the book or in the script, and at night she would go and work with her coach. Well, if you've ever followed someone around making a motion picture, it's a tough day, and at the end of the day, you're good and tired. But Marilyn would go to her coach and work for 2 or 3 more hours. And when we were dancing, when we were doing all the rehearsals, the dance rehearsals, she just worked and worked and worked. And she felt like she was going to do it in spite of them.
Marilyn Monroe, the golden girl of Hollywood, leaves behind a glittering and tragic legend. But whatever her personal and professional difficulties might have been, the world lost something radiant when Marilyn Monroe took her leave of it.
When her nude, lifeless body was discovered in her bedroom, every major paper in the world carried the story. Her death came as a terrible shock, but the cause was not surprising to the millions of fans who believed she was as vulnerable and weak as her breathless image. But over the years, more questions than answers have surrounded Marilyn's death, prompting several investigations, including that of Milo Spiriglio, head of a detective agency.
Based upon a 15-year investigation into the death of Marilyn Monroe, we've come to the conclusion that she did not take her own life as officially reported. It was a case of homicide. The evidence points to the fact Marilyn Monroe was murdered.
Mr. President, the late Marilyn Monroe.
In 1982, Nick Harris detectives offered a $10,000 reward for Marilyn's diary. Someone then raised the ante to $100,000, then $150,000. To this day, the diary has never been returned. The reward was not taken. It is my belief the diary was destroyed. It contained in it very dangerous information about political people, about the mafia, their connections with the President of the United States. When we first undertook the investigation of Marilyn's death, I read the autopsy report, showed it to some pathologists. We all came to the conclusion based upon Thomas Noguchi's autopsy of the decedent Marilyn Monroe, she did not swallow 47 Nebutel pills as reported.
Mr. Spiriglio believes that on the evening of August 4th, 1962, Marilyn said goodbye to her housekeeper and retired to her bedroom, bringing the phone with her.
Walter Schaefer, president of Schaefer Ambulance Service, the largest in Los Angeles, now goes on record with us and states Marilyn's live body was taken to the Santa Monica Hospital in comatose. She would later die in that hospital, but yet her body was stolen, brought back to the Brentwood, California home, and it was indicated that she committed suicide. They waited 6 to 6.5 hours before the police were called. In the meanwhile, the cover-up began. Sergeant Clemens, watch commander, LAPD, said it was an outright case of murder. The deputy coroner's aide, Lionel Greenison, said he was forced to sign her death certificate. It was murder. Witness after witness after witness confirmed our findings. It was murder.
Go ahead. It won't be the first time I've been worked over today. I'm getting used to it. Where are you going?